Mora, KTN.
Now moving forward, Kenya's efforts to secure fresh international financial support have hit a fresh setback after the International Monetary Fund said it cannot advance negotiations for a new funding program until Nairobi responds to a delayed governance and corruption diagnostic report. The development comes as fiscal pressures mount and global shocks strain the economy. Nyakundi Kelvin with more.
The International Monetary Fund has stalled discussions for a new lending program with Kenya, citing delays in government feedback on a long-awaited governance and corruption diagnostic report. IMF officials say the draft report has been shared with Kenyan authorities, but the fund is still awaiting formal comments before it can be presented to its board for approval. According to outgoing IMF African Department Director Abebe Selassie, and I quote, "The draft report has been shared by our team with authorities and we are waiting for their comments on that before presenting it to our board and publishing it." Kenya's projected total debt payments to the International Monetary Fund for 2026 are approximately 47.9 billion shillings. On a monthly basis, repayments vary significantly depending on the schedule, but averaged out, they amount to roughly 4 billion shillings per month. And due to interest, in 2025, Kenya paid 17.6 billion shillings. In 2026, Kenya is expected to pay 47.9 billion, and it is projected to pay 59.9 billion in 2027. The setback comes despite earlier assurances by President William Ruto, who has previously maintained that cooperation with multilateral lenders remains key.
We must therefore strengthen our regional development finance institutions, including the Africa Finance Corporation, that as you set up office in Nairobi, the Kenya government is going to enhance its equity by $25 million as a demonstration of the confidence we have.
Prime Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi had earlier described the governance audit as part of the government's commitment to fighting graft.
It would also be good for us to hear from you where you would see this going. Perhaps if it will have implications on our conversations on a new program.
Kenya is now urgently seeking additional support from both the IMF and World Bank as it grapples with rising external pressures. At the same time, public debt has climbed above 12.8 trillion shillings, raising concerns over fiscal sustainability. The IMF says discussions remain cordial, but insists Kenya must demonstrate a clear path toward fiscal consolidation and governance reforms before any program is approved. Nyakundi Kelvin for KTN.
On to matters security and interior cabinet.